All right, let's just dive right in. Think about how much time you've spent sitting in a classroom. Unless you somehow majored in trust fund management, you've probably spent well over 15 years in school. You memorized historical dates, you solved algebra equations, you learned the anatomy of a cell, but despite all those years, all those exams, and all that tuition money, there's a massive, glaring gap in your education. Most of us never actually learned how money works. We were never handed a syllabus for financial independence.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question, and one you've probably asked yourself at some point. Why do people with high salaries still stay broke? It's totally a paradox, right? We all see professionals pulling in six figures who are literally living paycheck to paycheck, completely stressed out about bills. Well, in this explainer, we're going to crack that exact code. We're going to uncover the specific money rules the wealthy use every single day to break free from that cycle. To do that, we're walking through what we call the wealth blueprint. We'll hit 5 key phases today. First, the education gap, then the mechanics of wealth, defensive strategies, offensive strategies, and finally, the ultimate wealth mindset. So let's kick things off with phase 1, the education gap.
There is a massive difference between being educated and being financially educated. Historically, and hey, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but the traditional school system was designed during the industrial age to produce good, reliable workers. It was built to teach you how to follow instructions and do a job, absolutely not how to build a fortune. And because financial education is just entirely missing from the curriculum, most adults are left to figure it out on their own. Unfortunately, that usually means learning about money through incredibly expensive, painful, real-world mistakes.
All right, moving right along to phase 2. The mechanics of wealth.
This is where we lay down the actual foundation of how money should flow. The average person's formula is just fundamentally broken. They get their income, they immediately pay their bills, they go shopping, and then they try to save whatever is left over. But spoiler alert, there's rarely anything left over. The wealth formula completely flips the script. The wealthy take their income, and literally the very first thing they do is invest. They pay themselves first, usually through automatic investing, before that money even hits their checking account. Then they pay their bills, and they only spend what is left after all of that. Now, to make that formula actually work, you gotta know exactly what you're buying. And that brings us to the absolutely crucial difference between an asset and a liability. It's simple. Assets put money into your pocket. We're talking stocks, real estate, rental properties, businesses. Liabilities, they take money out of your pocket. That's your brand new car, the latest smartphone, expensive designer clothes. True wealth isn't built by buying expensive things just to look rich. It's built by systematically accumulating income-producing assets. But of course, acquiring those assets brings up a topic that completely scares a lot of people: debt. Here's the thing, though. Debt is just a tool. It's not inherently evil, but it can absolutely build or destroy your wealth depending entirely on how you wield it. Good debt, like a mortgage on a rental property, a strategic business loan, or high-value education, is used to acquire assets that will eventually pay you back multiple times over. Bad debt, on the flip side, like high-interest credit cards or consumer loans used to fund a lifestyle you can't afford, will just drag you underwater. The wealthy borrow responsibly to build. They never borrow just to consume. Okay, let's shift gears to phase 3, defensive strategies. Here is the harsh reality. You can have fantastic wealth mechanics, but you can still lose it all if you don't fiercely protect your money. The absolute silent killer of wealth is lifestyle inflation. You get a new salary or a big promotion. Awesome, right? But then, immediately, you go buy a new car to celebrate. Then you upgrade your apartment, so your expenses go right up. The result? You literally have zero wealth. You're making way more money, but you're just as broke as you were before, just living at a higher standard. Let me give you a super relatable story to really drive this home. Imagine 2 friends, friend A and friend B. They both work at the exact same company, and they both get a nice $10,000 raise. Friend A takes that raise and immediately leases a luxury car and starts booking expensive vacations. A year later, friend A's net worth is exactly zero. Friend B, however, gets that exact same raise, but decides to just maintain their current comfortable lifestyle. Instead of upgrading their car, friend B quietly sets up an automatic transfer and invests that entire raise into an index fund. Fast forward 10 years, and friend B's net worth is absolutely skyrocketing, while friend A is still sitting around waiting for the next raise just to make ends meet. That is the devastating power of lifestyle inflation. And this perfectly anchors the idea that financial freedom is bought with pure discipline. As the famous saying goes,
Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. You've got a budget. You have to practice delayed gratification. You absolutely must avoid emotional spending. Defensive wealth isn't about depriving yourself forever. It's about having the fierce discipline to protect your future self from your present self's crazy impulses. All right, time for phase 4, offensive strategies. A strong defense is great, but now let's go on the attack and really accelerate that wealth building engine. $1 million, it's a massive number, right? And it perfectly illustrates our next principle. Time is way more valuable than money. This all comes down to the undeniable mathematical magic of compound growth. When you invest, your money makes money. And then, guess what? That new money makes even more money. But it requires time to snowball. That's exactly why small, consistent investments made in your 20s or 30s easily crush much larger investments made in your 50s. The wealthiest people out there understand that time in the market always beats timing the market. Now, to fuel those investments, the wealthy never, ever rely on just one paycheck. Relying on a single source of income is incredibly risky. Think about it. If you lose that job, your income goes to zero instantly. Cultivating multiple income streams, whether we're talking freelancing, running an online business, or dividend investing, creates this unshakable financial security net. And how exactly do you build those streams? Well, through high-income skills. Whether it's coding, artificial intelligence, video editing, or high-level sales, these skills are your multipliers. Remember the chain reaction here. Skills create income, income creates investments, and investments create true wealth. Seriously, investing in yourself to learn just one or two of these high-income skills provides the absolute highest return on investment you will ever get. Which brings us to our final phase. Phase 5, the ultimate wealth mindset. You can know all the rules, you can memorize the formulas, but if your psychology is broken, none of these mechanics will work long-term. Your mindset literally determines your wealth. The average person is often totally trapped by limiting beliefs. They tell themselves things like, I'll never be rich, or money is evil, or rich people just got lucky. If you believe those things, your brain won't even look for opportunities. You have to aggressively replace those thoughts with the empowering beliefs of the wealthy, an absolute obsession with learning, unwavering discipline, extreme patience, and just relentless consistency. And that leads us to our final rule. Never, ever stop learning about money. Financial education is not some college course you pass once and forget about. It's a lifelong pursuit. The wealthy are constantly consuming books, listening to insightful podcasts, networking with successful entrepreneurs, and actively analyzing their own real-world experiences. The financial landscape shifts constantly, and continuous learning is exactly how you stay ahead of the curve. Ultimately, this whole explainer boils down to one massive core takeaway. School teaches you how to earn a living. Life teaches you how to build wealth. Financial freedom does not happen overnight. There is no magic get-rich-quick button anywhere. It happens through small, incredibly disciplined decisions that you repeat consistently over time. It is all about paying yourself first, buying real assets, controlling your lifestyle, and harnessing the incredible power of time. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've seen the blueprint. We've uncovered the rules. The tools are literally right in front of you. Will you keep working for money, or are you